A lot of the things that people say about the power law, I think there are two main groups of people that don't like the power law in Bitcoin. One, people that don't know enough because they maybe just heard it, they maybe saw a single post or a few posts, and they immediately, like something very typical of the internet, immediately make opinions, okay? Instead of researching it, going in depth. Bitcoin is not an asset. And it's not a technology. So it's not an asset. So it's not going to behave with the normal logic of demand and supply. That is another thing that I'm criticizing all the time. Stop talking about demand and supply. Talk about running out of Bitcoin.
Senior researcher and doctor of neuroscience Giovanni Santostasi was recently interviewed alongside his fellow Bitcoin enthusiast Fred Krueger by podcaster Nico, where he talked about the Bitcoin's power law and what makes Bitcoin unique. In his discussion of Bitcoin's power law, Giovanni Santostasi points out that people who disagree with it frequently don't understand it or have ulterior motives. In 2013, Giovanni established the power law and discovered regular correlations between price and time, price and addresses, and price and transactions. Since these connections haven't altered over time, forecasts on Bitcoin's future behavior are possible. Giovanni emphasizes that this explains Bitcoin's essential characteristic of expanding precisely rather than a standard prediction technique. Despite the doubts expressed by others, he thinks this establishes it as a legitimate scientific theory. Before criticizing Bitcoin, Giovanni advises others to learn about the power law, which will help them better understand the cryptocurrency's behavior. He points out that the power law will probably stay constant because it has been for 15 years, spanning 8 orders of magnitude. Watch clips from the interview for further insights into Giovanni Santostasi's conversation with Fred Krueger and Nico. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications for more content. Enjoy the video.
A lot of the things that people say about the power law, I think there are two main groups of people that don't like the power law in Bitcoin. One, people that don't know enough because they maybe just heard it, they maybe saw a single post or a few posts, and they immediately, like something very typical of the internet, immediately make opinions, okay? Instead of researching it, going in depth, they have an opinion. So they have to go very quickly on the keyboard and express their opinion. That is something that I wish, at least in the Bitcoin community, could change, because we are supposed to be more serious people. We are supposed to research, understand, verify. I wish that will change. If you go in depth, then you understand a lot of things. And I think if you are not converted, and it's not a question of converting because it's a question of understanding. If you don't understand, then maybe you spend more time and understand it. I think once you understand it, you get it. It's and I didn't hear yet one single pushback that is well informed, that is based on knowledge, that is based on math, that is a fair, good criticism. It doesn't exist. There are two groups. There is this first group. The second group is people that have an agenda, because maybe there are other influencers, maybe there are other people that maybe sold for a long time their models, or maybe they have a particular philosophy about Bitcoin. And so they push it back because it's kind of a threat for them. It's a threat for their worldview. And so these are the two group of people. And about the general idea that we cannot predict the future, we did it because I came up, first of all, I came up with the first power law relationship in 2013. And in fact, I even posted the other day my first discovery of a power law that was between price and transactions and price and addresses. And still today, that relationship is there. How many is that? 11 years later, it's still there. Exactly the same relationship, exactly with the same exponents. It's there, 11 years. Then the one that everybody discusses with is between price and time. I did it almost 6 years ago. And since 6 years, Bitcoin has done the same thing. So we are already shown that you can use Bitcoin to predict the future. So I don't understand this statement. Go and learn that what is not happening today. We already did it. And second, if you look at the entire philosophy that I try to explain, and I understand that is the part that, to be honest, even sometimes for me, when I go asleep, if I say, are you sure about this argument about the scale invariant property of Bitcoin? But it's a fundamental property. It's something fundamental because in the other hand, it's also very simple. I made the example of a child that grows. It's like a child that grows. It grows proportionally. And it has done for all these years. It will continue to do it. That is the basis. It's very different from TA. It's very different from any other type of prediction that people do. We are explaining that Bitcoin has a particular characteristic that is growing in a very precise manner. And because it has done this for 15 years, 8 order of magnitude, it's going to do it for another order of magnitude. It's a very, very simple. If you understand this concept from a scientific point of view, it's a very valid scientific hypothesis. It stays an hypothesis. Nobody can predict the future perfectly, of course, but it's a very, very valid scientific hypothesis. And the other thing, it's something that actually should make you understand Bitcoin better. So I think it's worthwhile at least to understand it before you criticize. Study it, understanding, and then do your criticisms.
Giovanni Santostasi talks about Bitcoin's power law and stresses that it's critical to comprehend it before making judgments. It is a credible scientific theory since he found consistent correlations between price and transactions, addresses, and time. Comprehending the power law can offer a valuable understanding of the behavior and unique characteristics of Bitcoin. Giovanni Santostasi demonstrates that because Bitcoin is so simple, we cannot overfit the model when evaluating it. This is because Bitcoin is special, not because the model is better. For Bitcoin, the power law holds, enabling us to make some educated guesses about its future course. What, though, is so unique about Bitcoin? Giovanni claims that because Bitcoin is neither an asset nor a technology, it defies conventional theories of supply and demand. Numerous analysts, such as the Rational Root, concentrate on the quantity of available Bitcoin. But this strategy is unsound. They say that Bitcoin is running low, but this is untrue. When we compute the correlation, there is no discernible relationship between pricing and available supply. We can generate predictions with Bitcoin's network features that are not achievable with traditional assets. While the power law explains the overall pattern and growth cycles of Bitcoin, it is not a reliable tool for forecasting short-term price changes. The power law represents a process of rapid expansion without resource exhaustion. With Bitcoin growing exceptionally rapidly, this sustainable growth is proportionate to time. In essence, opposing the power law is like opposing Bitcoin's established 15-year history. The power law, which explains Bitcoin's peculiar behavior, is a concept backed by science, not speculation. Let's go back to the interview and watch more clips to gain insights from Giovanni Santostasi.
First of all, like Fred says, there is only one parameter. So you cannot really overfit it. It's almost impossible to overfit. It's very, very simple model. And this is not because the model is superior. It's because Bitcoin is superior. You will not be able to do this with almost anything else. With Bitcoin, it works. It doesn't happen. The other day, I show these things that another analyst, that by the way I like a lot, but we disagree on this particular topic. His name is the Rational Root. He is fixated, like literally fixated, that there is some kind of crisis because the available supply, that is how many coins are still in circulation, but it's a silly idea to start with. I can explain why. But I say, okay, you define this quantity, that is how many coins were available. He's fixated that we are running out of Bitcoin, basically. He doesn't like me saying that, but that is the message. Where people in the community think we are running out of Bitcoin. There are more and more people hodling Bitcoin. So there are less Bitcoin because of a fixed cap. And I went to calculate the quantity and they say, okay, let's see, because these are real scientists will do it. Let's see if there is any correlation with price. No correlation. So I made a joke, the Drake meme where he rejects something. So because he was talking with what Bitcoin did crew, right? And the guys were saying that Bitcoin, the power law is nonsense. So I made him reject 0.95 correlation, right? R square. And then the correlation for these things that we were like eating, like if it was a hot cake, it's 0.003, something like that, like no correlation at all. So they like that because he was not showing real data. He was just showing, oh, look, I have this nice little chart that show we're running out of Bitcoin. People love that kind of stuff. But when you show if there is any real correlation with price, there was none. It doesn't, price is not affected by that. So this is how scientists really do it. Look at the data, see if there is any pattern that is meaningful. Now, it's not an asset, it's a network. So if you start to think in terms of network properties, then you realize that, oh, okay, now I can make a bunch of predictions that I will not be able to do if it was a normal asset. Now, something that needs to be understood, on a daily basis, I cannot use this, right? At least not yet. I don't know. Maybe there is a way. But right now, if you tell me what is the price of Bitcoin tomorrow, this approach doesn't work because it explains the general trend and maybe even the cycles, or maybe even portion of the cycle, where we are in the cycle, when the bull run is going to start, where the bottom is. So it's very, very precise in terms of long period of time, so on the period of weeks and months. A power law is such a process where you grow as fast as possible without burning all your resources. This is why we don't see exponential growth in complex beings. You have exponential growth in bacteria when they reproduce themselves, right? And then they die if there is not enough food around. With the power law, you have a growth that is proportional and is pretty fast for Bitcoin, because we are talking about the power of 6 in time, but it does it in such a way that is sustainable. It's the best possible way. You are arguing not with Giovanni, you are arguing with Bitcoin when you're arguing against the power law, because it's not a fantasy. It's there scientifically, it can be proven. It has done this for 15 years.
The 45th U.S. President, Donald Trump, spoke at the Bitcoin 2024 conference in Nashville, Tennessee. This is the first time a former U.S. president has addressed a cryptocurrency-related event. Trump has been vocal about supporting cryptocurrencies, which has excited digital currency supporters. He likened the Bitcoin industry to the steel industry a century ago, emphasizing its potential for growth and innovation. He also stressed the need for the US to lead in Bitcoin ahead of China and expressed support for non-custodial solutions and responsible stablecoin regulation. Trump argued that Bitcoin does threaten the government's actions. He highlighted the success of his campaign's cryptocurrency fundraising, noting that $25 million was raised in cryptocurrency, primarily in Bitcoin, rather than in traditional dollars. Trump outlined his goals to establish the US as the crypto capital of the planet and the Bitcoin superpower of the world throughout his speech. Calling Biden the worst president and asserting that Kamala Harris opposes cryptocurrencies, he attacked the current administration. Trump stressed the necessity for reasonable regulation, while threatening to apply ruthless tactics to the cryptocurrency industry under the Harris government. There was a heightened excitement among attendees due to Trump's bold claims and strong position on cryptocurrencies, and they anticipated a changed financial landscape. His speech sparked discussion and excitement among the cryptocurrency community by presenting a picture of a future in which Bitcoin is a major player in the US economy. As we conclude, what are your thoughts on this interview? What do you understand by Bitcoin's power law? Do you think Bitcoin is special compared to gold or other cryptocurrencies? Please drop your thoughts in the comments below, share this video, and hit your thumbs on the like button. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.